A concept has been coming up for me a lot in trauma work, especially relational trauma, and I thought it would be helpful to share that here. And I think the colloquial way to put this phenomenon broadly is making the perfect the enemy of the good, right? Desiring so deeply this ideal, this ideal that's built on our hopes and dreams and is a construction of fantasy, that anything that falls short of that ideal feels like a failure. When if we could soften the fantasy of that ideal, we could be able to celebrate that good thing we're getting, even if it's not the great or the perfect thing, as a win. And the way this is coming up in trauma work for me recently is when we've been hurt and we're trying to find safety again. Often in working in EMDR, we're trying to find that positive belief we want to hold about ourselves, right? If the negative belief is, I'm not safe, I'm fucked, I'm doomed, then the positive belief is, I'm safe. Well, I found that in this work, slowing down to really understand what we mean by safe is important. If we mean, I'm perfectly safe and I can come to no harm, well, we're going to set ourselves up for disappointment because unfortunately it's not a perfectly safe world. But to borrow an analogy from the work of family therapy, we found, this is John Bowlby in the 60s, we find we don't need the perfect parent. That's not what we need growing up. In fact, there's some drawbacks to that. If we have a perfect parent who's very involved, we might lack the skills to build resilience. What we need is the good enough parent. Well, to borrow from that, we need to define safety as safe enough, right? Not perfectly safe. Even quality relationships will be hurt. That's what people do. We do hurt each other. And so finding that in a lot of sessions I've had to slow down and say, but what are we defining as safe? And finding that piece, finding the definition that's safe enough, that would be a comfort to gain that. That would be growth. That would be good to gain that. As long as that is within the client's value system, it can be really helpful to shift that ideal we're chasing from perfect, which we can't get, to the very good, the very real improvement of safe enough. And so whether it's in the context of trauma work and therapy or just in your life, when this concept of safe, who's safe and who's not, comes up, go with that question of safe enough, as opposed to this really black and white categorical, perfectly safe versus everybody else. If we go there, we may end up putting everybody in that category of everybody else and not getting the good things in relationship that we all need.